Let's see. Good morning. Good morning. Welcome. I'm glad you could join us. I'm excited about today's class. These are the cards that we're having today. Um, this is the Z fold. This is the pop up fold. Uh, Pop up panel card. Okay, pop up panel card. This is the double explosion card. And this last one is the pop up flip card. And we'll be going over each of those in turn. We're going to focus first on this card, which actually I have two versions of. Both of them are very similar. Both are using the 6x6 panoramic type paper. And, both are lovely. The problem I ran into was I kind of ran out of pieces of this particular paper. And so I substituted for a couple of you this other paper, but the basic essentials are the same on how to go about it. Before I get into that, I wanted to let you know this is the product of the month for orders. If you place an order of $75 or more with Stampin' Up, uh, you can buy this stamp set, Begonia Bell, for $5. So that's just sharing what's currently happening. Now, on this card, for the most part, I was relying on this Sunset Coast set. Now, I didn't use the Sunset Coast paper, which is truly gorgeous and is panoramic too, partially because I have a limited amount of the paper and I wanted to make sure that we were able to do this. But I am using the dies for the embellishments, including the seashell. I also am using the sentiments, this congratulations, and then you brighten my days right here. So if you have not gotten this set yet, I will express I am so glad I got it. There's so much potential on this. I haven't hardly scratched the surface, and I see me doing more. In fact, I've ordered more paper because I see me doing more. But anyway, that's the Sunset Coast. This was the bundle I used. Now, for this card for the sentiment, I used an older die, retired die. Uh, Basically, you can choose what you like. I just knew that this one was big enough to fit the word that I wanted to stamp. So that's why I always like to hang on to my old sets. I'm not so ready to give things up. Now, I'm going to try and do a little bit better and try not take too much time, but I wanted to go over the pieces with you. And for that, let's see. Let me get my little notes here. Okay. For that, we'll start with a card base, which is 5.5 by 8.5, and it's scored at 4.25, but it also is scored at 1.5. And we're making a Z fold. Okay, so we're folding a mountain fold, the top one, and the second one is a valley fold. And it'll fold like that. All right. And then I have a sequence in which I apply these things, but I wanted to make that clear on the base. Now, the paper that we're using, I use Thoughtful Journey, which is gorgeous paper. I love the colors of it. I think it's retired now, but any panoramic paper will do. And certainly what appeals to you is what should go. This started out as a 6x6. I cut it a little bit off, like a half, 3/4 of an inch off the top to make it 5.25, and it's still 6 inch along here. Then I cut it, and I cut it at 2 3/4. That's this one. And the next one I cut at 1 1/8, which left a 2 1/8 piece remaining. And again, the height is 5.5, or 5 1/4. All right, now the white piece for sentiment, the cardstock for sentiment, the sentiment, I'll speak clearly, is 1 7/8. That's just shy of 2 inches by 5 1/4. And what we're going to do, we're going to start with this, but I wanted you to be sure that your paper was lined up in sequence for us to apply. And then here I've got the packet of embellishments. We'll get into those a little bit later. So for this one, I wanted to stamp the sentiment, "You brighten my day." I'm using the Calypso Coral ink because it was complementary to the paper. And because this is a photopolymer stamp, it doesn't have the padding that the red rubber does. So I'm using the pad here, and I'm just kind of centering it, get it down there, let it absorb the ink, and there we are. Okay, you brighten my day. That's a little bit crooked. Let's try it again. Paper has two sides. Well, they both wanted to do that. I guess it's going to be a little bit crooked, or I can cut a new piece. Let's do that. Well, let's see. This needs to be 5. Okay, I'll have to do move this. Okay, this needs to be 5 1/4. And then I'm going to cut at 1, I believe it was 1 7/8. That's 1/8 of an inch shy of 2 inches. Okay, and this time I will bring it closer to me so I can see better. One of the fun things about getting older. Okay, and the mat. Let's get the mat. Okay, that's looking better. There we go. Well, I guess I'm going to have to do a little embellishment there. I'll try it one more time. Okay. Oh, I know what I haven't done. I haven't turned my lights on. Well, that's not good. And I'm getting my hands in my ink. Gotta wash my hands now, real quick. Let's turn my lights on. You can see better without the shadows. Well, come on. There's 1. And there's 2. Yay! Let there be light. Okay. It's a good thing, too, because the dark cardstock makes it harder to see. Now, I did try to make the instructions that came with your kits logical. We're going to add this piece first, and we're going to adhere it to the right side of the card. We're going to leave 1/8 of an inch border around each. Okay. I'm going to bring this closer to me to kind of have a better idea of where I'm going. Line it up. A little bit there. Okay. Now, once that's in place, we're going to add glue to it. Okay. And I'm going to line it up. All right, there we go. Next, we are going to be adding the front piece. The reason for that is the front piece overlaps. See, there's a part of it showing, but it overlaps here. And you want to make sure you space this middle section appropriately with this. So what we're going to do is we're going to add the front piece first. Now, in doing that, the way I have discovered works best for me, I like to use tape runner. And I'm going to add it. And actually using this panel kind of gives me a guide because I need not to go to the very top or the very bottom. Okay. And then on this piece, I'm going to add the tape runner behind here. Okay. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this part that doesn't have any, a part that doesn't have any glue on it. I'm going to line it up with this side of the card. Okay, so that it is covering. Oh, it got sticky. Ugh. It wants to pop up and volunteer to help hold it down already. Okay. We want to cover up that sentiment piece. Okay. And once it's lined up there, then I can press it down. And we have our piece in place. Then, now we're ready for this one. Now, I used tape runner on this. Why am I using glue on this? Because I knew I would have time to adjust to make sure before I stuck the sticky part down and it would be in the proper place. It also lined it up on the cardstock where I knew it was supposed to be on the cardstock as well as the edge. This I'm leaving that little space inside for the wiggle room so that as I adjust this, two things. The glue won't squish out the edge, and it leaves me a little wiggle room, if you can see that, so that I can adjust it as necessary. And I'm going to use the guidelines of the others and just kind of line it up with that, and we should be good. There we have that part done. Let's see. Yeah. Come over just a smidge. See, that's what I like about the glue. It allows for adjustment. Okay, now here's the die cut for the sentiment I'm going to use. And I have it already set up over here. I'm going to use the pad again. Now, I like the pad for another reason. The other reason is the fact that it is a contrast with the white paper, so I can see more clearly where the white paper begins and ends. I'm bringing this closer to me. Let's see, I'll try to get it where you can see it too. Okay. Perfect. All right. We're happy. Closing my ink pad. It's always safe to keep it closed when you're not using it. And I'm also going to clean my stamps. The problem with photopolymer is it has a tendency to stain. And so I try to clean them as quickly as I can after using them to reduce the amount of staining. It doesn't affect the stamping, but for me, sometimes it affects my ability to see where I'm stamping. It just generally is a good idea to keep your stamps clean. Okay. That's done. Now let's take a look at what we did here. I'm going to put this up the top. I have this over here. And let's get our goodies out of here. Now what I did with this, when I die cut out, I was giving you some choices. And so I die cut more than I actually needed. So you had some choices that you can make. These seagulls are particularly tricky because they're small and they're white. And it's very easy for them to hide. I'm going to stick them over on my black edge here so I can keep track of them. Okay. Now for the die cuts, I did some in the pumpkin pie cardstock, but I also did some out of some designer series paper for a variety of colors. And I did 3, and you can't see that very well. Let's find some place for... I guess I cleaned up too much. Let's see. Here we go. The white. This is so that if you wanted to do your own coloring, you could. So I'm giving you choices here. The net is cut out of thick cardstock. And what we're going to do is we're going to adhere it back here. And I can't remember yeah, I used a glue dot. So I'm going to put you back over this way so I can see what you were. All right, so with this, I'm going to add a couple glue dots on here. And I can see the question could come up, wait, won't the glue dots be sticky through the net? Yes, that is a possibility. But after I get it placed, I'm going to go and use the embossing buddy to remove the stickiness. That's a good trick to remember when you're faced with other situations like that. Okay? All right. Now, we got this here. We're going to stick this in here. Press it down. I pressed it down gently because I didn't want the glue dot to stick to the card base itself. And then for this, I can use another glue dot. I'm using the light to kind of help me see where the glue dot is. Okay. It's strong. Okay. Do a seashell up here. Okay, and then I used one of the seashell I cut out of Designer Series paper. And I'm going to put a glue dot there. And I'm going to roll one up for this edge here. The trouble with paper, it's so fragile. Okay. That's one. And then I'm going to roll the other one up. So I bring out the glue dot. And I take my Take a Pick tool. And I just kind of roll it on there. And the trick of it is not to roll it all around the Take a Pick tool so you can't get it off. And then I'm going to press it on and remove the Take a Pick tool from it. Now, I can take and I can place it on the net. Ooh, I don't want it that far. Let's move it a little bit. There. Okay. That's for that part. And then on here, I can take another glue dot and I can add it. It's so much simpler with glue dots. You could use glue, but there we are. And so we have some extra pieces there. Now, those will come at the very latest. Okay, but next we're going to work on our congratulations. I'm going to just kind of center it in that space. Now, if you wanted to, you could pop this up. I'm not popping it up today. I do like to do it sometimes, but sometimes I just rather it be flat and stable. Okay. All right. And then again, if I can find it quickly, I have a tool. There it is. There. Okay, I use this tool a lot while I'm determining where I want to put stuff because it helps me see better without my fingers in the way. Okay, there we go. And then I'm using the same tool for these seagulls. Now I've turned it so the back side is up. See, I want to have that way. I'm using the reverse tweezers to hold it in place. Now, this glue is what's in this container. It's a regular Tombow glue, but I'm using a precision chip pen or dispenser because that's a tiny area to cover. And I'm just going to put, sometimes I have to take a piece of darker cardstock and make sure the glue's coming out. Then I can, because you can't really see the white glue very well on the white cardstock. So I'm making a few dots. And then I'm going to put one over here. And by doing that, I'm not smearing the glue around while I do the placement. It just takes a little patience. Okay, this is the front side. It's a smooth side. I'm going to turn it over. Okay. I'm adding some glue. Now I'm going to place it. See, I had it closer down here. Okay. There we go. And then we have this itty bitty one. Let me get it, picking it up for you. Just a little tiny guy. That was the right side. I'm turning him over, grabbing it with my reverse tweezers. All right. Again, using the fine tip. Okay. And then I'm going to have that one kind of flying off in the distance a bit. Okay. Now we're ready to add these little sequins. And for that, I can use the Take a Pick tool. They do have a set of sequins that goes with the Scenic Coast suite, but they were currently out of stock. I tried to order some and it just wasn't going to happen. So they will be coming back. It's just it wasn't back yet, so I don't have them. But I'm going to get them because I feel like they would a worthwhile investment because I really like that set and I'm going to be using a lot of it. And you'll see some more examples a little bit later. Because I plan on sharing some sneak peeks. Okay, now we've added these guys here. And what we're going to do is we're going to go back here. And I'm going to get what's called the embossing buddy. And this is a packet of like a powder. And I'm just kind of tapping it over the back side of this. So whatever glue dots might be tempted to adhere to the back of the card, the powder is going to keep it from sticking. And then we should be done with our card. First card. I love it. I just really love the... And like I said, you are open to your creative impulses in what you do. And that's why I was trying to give you some choices. And even if you like what I chose, you still have more you can use for something else. How about that? All right. And all these little pieces here. So that was card number 1. Put that off to the side. For the person who, or people who ended up with the other card, I used the butterflies for the embellishment, and you had some sequins as well. Same congratulations. I used a pinkish, skipping my brain, flamingo something. Anyway, I used that for the ink because it would go better with this card. But this is an example of, you just take a panoramic view and you can have fun with it. Okay, moving on. On some of these cards, and the next one is an example of it, I'm going to have to do a demo because I prepared it in advance for you, but I had to move these out of the way. I had to, I'm going to be using this one. All right. I didn't know if you would have the die I used in creating the card. And so I took the precaution of getting that part prepared for you. In making this card, I used two sets. I used the sentiments from Paradise Garden. I didn't use the dies, but I just used the sentiments. Excuse me. This is Susan Campfield's $1 million set. No, yes. She got to design a set when she hit the $1 million mark, and this is what she designed. And as it turns out, I like the fonts, and I like the, no, wrong one. Got ahead of myself. Anyway, I like the fonts. I like what they're saying. And then I love this garden party paper. Paradise Garden. Excuse me. So that's what we're using. And then the dies I used. And where did I put the cards? Oh, that's not it. All right. I went and hid my cards from me. Oh, there they are. Here we go. Next card. The dies I used for this was the branching out set. As I admitted when I first got this set, it was the dies that attracted me, and this is part of the reason why, because I can do layers like that, and I really enjoy it. And I'm using some retired paper here, but it was paper I thought was so pretty, and it just gave me a good feel. And I took the colors that were in the paper and choosing the color of cardstock to use. So that's kind of the story behind this one. The branching out set, while I got it because I like the dies, I discovered I really like the set too. I like the sentiments in here. Unfortunately, I believe it's retired now. But whenever you see a set that has layers, I have some more examples like this. It's a good thing to grab them because they give you a variety of sizes so you can find something that'll fit what you're working with. That's my opinion. And it's too sad when somebody gets something and then they didn't get the dies and then they're frustrated because they can't do what they wanted to do. Okay, so for this one, I'm going to have to do a demo. And let me show you this card. It opens up and this part, middle part, pops up, and then you can see a sentiment underneath it. And then what I did here was I took scraps of paper, and you'll have a scrap that's this size to cut out, to fussy cut out a little cluster for your decoration. I cut out two, one for the inside. So if you don't have to watch closely while I do this, because some of you may already know about die cutting, you can be fussy cutting while you wait for me to do my thing. Now I'm picking the die. Let's see if I find the right size. Yep, that's the one I need. All right. So it's the third from the smallest, basically the third from the smallest in the set. And I'm going to have to move things around and get this set up for the die cutting. This is a piece of cording that you will use to make your little bow. This is the sentiment piece already cut for you. Oh, let's get the measurements here. All right, the card base is the typical 5.5 by 8.5 scored at 4 1/4. This designer series paper layer is 4 by 5 1/4, and it's going to go here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to sit and put glue only along the edge. Now I could use tape runner if I wanted, but I like my liquid glue because I sometimes need to adjust. So I'm putting the liquid glue on. Then this isn't really directional paper. You can choose how you want to put it. And then I'm lining it up, leaving about 1/8 of an inch border all the way around. This is where I have to adjust my glasses and look closely and make my adjustments as I see needed. Okay. And then I'm going to take, if I can grab a hold of it, I'm going to put a little weight on here. Let that settle for a minute. And while I'm letting that settle, I'm going to go ahead and work on this. And for that, the cardstock was Mossy Meadow, and I'm using was a Old Olive, and I'm using Old Olive ink. Okay, make sure I didn't get ink on me. And then I've got the sentiment, wishing you a lovely day. Let's hope I can get this one straighter. Now I'm going to stamp this off to the right hand side. Lovely. Okay. Close those ink pads. Clean the stamps. Okay. Now I'm going to put this off to the side for the moment. And I'm going to take, let's move this so it's safe. I'm going to take my, I'll start with getting this set up. I'm going to take my die and I'm going to center it in the card. And once I get it to where I believe I like it, I'm going to tape it down and secure it. Now I'm using Post-it note tape. Which holds securely, but will pull off. So you're not stuck with tape on your paper. All right, now bring in my die cut embossing machine. Move my stuff out of the way of it. Oop. There we go. Move this over a little. There. All right, and then for the newbies, because I was a newbie once watching, I used the plate, the base plate 1, the die adapter 2, and then I'm using a cutting plate 3. Now this is my old scratchy one. They do get scratchy. And then I'm going to put this in here and I'm going to cover it with another plate 3, and then I'm going to feed it into the machine and crank it through. Now, one of the things I like about this is if the power goes out, I can still do my cutting because this is manual and not electric. Get these out of the way. Now, by doing what we did when we placed the glue just along the edge, it's going to leave this panel in the middle here. Let me get these off. Loose from the cardstock that it cut with. And you'll find, those of you that got kits, you'll find that I've already cut these pieces for you. But because people other than those who got kits may be watching, I'm trying to help them see how it's done too. So for future. All right. Now I'm going to reinforce that fold. And I'm going to put my die back. I have two things. Dies are easily misplaced if you just set them aside while you're working in projects. I have a panel, magnetic panel that I'll put my small ones on if I'm going to be repeatedly using them. Small ones are really bad about disappearing on you. And so we have this piece we're going to set aside, but you can look at it and you can kind of see, are there clusters here that you can fussy cut out to use for your decoration. I'm probably going to take this one. All right, and then here is this panel that is going to be used as a layer with this. And we can go ahead and do that now. Just add the glue. Center it. You can see that. I'm going to pick it up and eyeball it there. Yeah, I like that. Okay, let that settle for a minute. I'm going to take my scissors. I'm going to do a little fussy cutting. Now, we do have a chat on here. If you know how to use it, you can ask questions and leave comments. My challenge is to see them. And while I'm still small in numbers, my chances are better that I might catch it. But I can answer questions even after the fact. I'm happy to answer questions, actually, because my goal is to help you learn how to do this and share the joy of card making, because it has given me so much joy. It's hard to ignore. You know, it's just like I was overwhelmed with joy, if you will, and I felt like I had to share this because I felt like I'd burst if I didn't, which is what led me to teaching these classes. I did not anticipate at the time I was signing up for Stampin' Up! That I would be teaching. I was mostly signing up to get the discount because I was going to be buying a lot of product and I wanted to give a cost savings at least. And Stampin' Up! Doesn't mind hobby demonstrators. They're very happy about it. Let's see. I kind of like that one. Let me think on it for a minute. We'll work on this one first. Add a bit of glue. Anyway, it's been 5 years now I'm still having a blast, and I just get so excited. But what I didn't anticipate at the time was by signing up to become a demonstrator, it gave me access to something called the Demonstrator Planning Place, which is a Facebook page in which other demonstrators share ideas and techniques that they have run across. And it's just been so enriching and such an encouraging, there we go, such an encouraging environment. Well, you'll see some more later. I've got some more things to show you. But it was just so fun and so awesome to be able to do that. I'm not seeing a second one. Let's see. Oh, it must be in the box. Nope, not in the box. All right. Where did I put it? I'm good at putting things and then not knowing where I put it. Well, we'll find another one. All right. Now, while that's drying, we're going to go ahead and put this panel inside here. So, okay, I can tell that's going to bug me. I can't imagine how I managed to do it, but I do. And it happens to a lot of us. We lose things so easily. I'm adding the glue along the edge, and I'm going to be centering this inside. It needs to be centered before we do the mechanism. Again, about 1/8 of an inch all around. I have to pick it up and look at it and adjust it accordingly. Okay. Now all that settles in, let's work on the mechanism. These are the pieces to the mechanism. And you're going to do mountain folds on all 4 score lines of the one piece. Let's see, this piece, this is 2 inches by 3 inches, and it's scored at 3/4 of an inch, 1.5 inches, 2 1/4 inches. And that allows you to form this box. Now here's where I have to remember the pieces. And then this one, it has 1 score. Okay, we've glued the inside layer. We folded on the score line all mountain folds. And we're adding adhesive to the 2 end sections. Okay. Hoping I remember this correctly. 2 end sections, adding adhesive. Now, originally I tried using tape runner, but it didn't hold. But it wasn't the Stampin' Up! Kind, I think, because my other one got broken. I'm going to stick with glue right now. Glue holds really well. Once you let it dry, it holds very, very well. That's one. And this is the other. Okay. Now what we're going to do is we're going to tape this with the glue side down. And we're going to center it. And what I can do is I can kind of with the glue up, I'm looking to see where it feels centered, and then I'll bring it down, and I'm putting it just below the score line because you want the card to be able to fold. So I'm putting it just below the score line. And then once it's in position, then you fold this up where the glue's on there, and you fold this down and hold it for a few minutes, let the glue set. And what that does, it creates the mechanism, or at least part of it. And then once that's secured in place, you've got this box. Okay? You've got this box. Okay. Now, we take the second mechanism, fold it on the score line, align the 1-inch portion. Oh, this mechanism was a 2 by 2 and a half, and it scored at the 1-inch mark. And we're going to put glue. Okay, we're going to put glue only on the top part of this. All right. And we're going to line this up with that. Okay. And we push that down. That helps me align it better. There we go. And that gives us a bigger surface. You see the inches coming out here, so it gives us a bigger surface to put adhesive for this piece. I'm going to close this down. And I'm going to add glue. You know what? In this case, I don't want the glue to get beyond. I'm going to add the tape runner. You want to have a good adhesion. Okay. And then what you do is you line this up in the opening that was created when we cut it. That way you know it's centered perfectly. Then you can press down, and because it's tape runner, you don't have to hold it there very long. And now you have your mechanism. Isn't that fun? Now, the next challenge is to do your sentiment, and I'm going to have to put some things away so that I can do my sentiment. And I was going to use, let's see, which one did I use? Oh, yes, wishing you a lovely day and you make the world a better place. And that comes from Paradise Gardens. Okay, so yeah, you make the world a better place. Okay, I'm going to put that away for the moment. Free this up. Set it down. Pick it up. Okay. Now, I'm going to open this up. I'm going to kind of visualize, okay, on here, where, okay, this appears here, but it opens up to there. So I want to try and center it right in that area. Okay, so about, well, not quite an inch. And we're using old olive. Now, what sentiments you use is really up to you. In some cases, they didn't worry about centering it. They just kind of did it next to the... I want to try and center it. Okay. Yep, that works. Close the ink pad. See, I want a smaller one. Let's see. Okay. Moving that to side. You need a little decoration there. I think I'm just going to take the flowers. Now, there's a variety of opinions as far as it goes with fussing cutting. Some people really don't like it, and some people enjoy the process. Now, I don't mind doing it now and then, but I do appreciate having die cuts. But I also appreciate being able to use the beautiful pictures that are on the lovely designer series paper. And I know for me, it makes me feel good to know that I'm not wasting those beautiful pictures. Oh, I might add a strawberry later on, but there we are. Use my tweezers, add a bit of glue, and we're in business. Yeah, I think I kind of like it like that. Okay. Anyway, now all we need to do is tie that little bow, for which I gave you the twine. And I like the twine because it's pretty forgiving when it comes to bow making. I don't want a big bow, but I want you to have enough to work with to make a bow that you like, which is why I gave you as much as I did. I want that smaller. I want a small one, a little smaller. Yeah. And then for that, I use my scissors that I save for cutting ribbon, because my paper snips would just chew at it. And then to put that on, Another glue dot. Oh, come on. Okay, you're going to play games with me. The thing with sticky things, they stick. All right, there we are. I believe that was it. I don't think there's anything extra. Yeah. See, and have your pop up, and then you have your extra sentiment. Oh, this is pieces of twine. Okay, there we go. Anyway, that's your second card. How are we doing time wise? Okay. And glue dots go back where they belong. All right. Moving on to the next one. Move these guys out of the way. Let's see, what's this say? Yep, we got it. This goes here. Sorry while I organize things a bit. And some things are fighting me. Okay. Now we're ready to start on the third card. I'm just readjusting my supply. And for some reason, we're just being ornery. There. Okay. Third card. The double explosion card. This one, when I saw it, I knew immediately I wanted to do it. I saw some alternatives done with it, and I thought we could have a lot of fun with this. We've done explosion cards before, but this one, and I got crooked here. Let's get you back straight. Okay. This one is a double explosion. I also used the Kintsugi set because I had the paper. I love the paper. I wanted to use the paper, and I use this as an excuse to do it. So it's a lot of fun, and I can see once you learn how to do it, if you enjoy it as much as I do, you'll be making a whole bunch of these. Let me get the set out. Just as an example, I did, when I find these cards, I try them first with paper I'm not worried about wasting. So, to make sure that I know what I'm doing. And then I used the Paradise Garden paper for this one. And it turned out cute, It's just, so I'm probably going to make more of these as well. But we're sticking with this one for right now. This set. Let's see. This one here. All right, this one. We have our card base. And I went ahead and folded the card base for you because I discovered that you want it to meet in the middle. And I discovered that sometimes, depending on which way you fold it, it might not decide to meet. So I went ahead and folded, made sure they met in the middle for you. All right. And then we have the card base. It's 5.5 by 8.5, and it is scored at 2 1/8, and then I turned it around and scored the other side 2 1/8. So, and then the designer series paper, which I've already started folding. Okay, this is 8 by 4, and it is scored at 2, 4, and then 6. But we are not folding on the 4-inch score. That's a guide to help you as you begin your folding of the card to make the explosion card. In other words, it's the line that you line this up with, you line it up to here, and then you make your triangle. You fold this, and then you fold one triangle this way and one triangle that way. And then you're going to fold this so it's a mountain fold. And what happens, it allows it to collapse. I'm going to do the same thing on this side, and you can be working on yours while I do it. I'm bringing it up. Now with the extra light, I can really see pretty good, but I want to get it all the way to the edge of the bottom here. And when I have it lined up right, then I give the pressure and fold it, score it. And then I'm going to do the same thing going the other way. I'm bringing the paper up to the line. Make sure it's up at the top. Okay. And score. And then this one, we want this scored that way so that when we fold it, we've got our triangles. And then I just kind of reinforce it. You can use your bone folders. I often use my nails because I have strong nails. But now you have the explosion part of the card. In the card base, you're going to want to put in this white panel. While you have some room up here, you can write or sign your name down here. It'd be a little easier than trying to avoid the explosion, if you will. But you're going to want to put that in. But now, when you did this, I cut it to the instructions. But if you can see it, it's fighting a little. You need to take and cut like a 1/16 of an inch off so that when you fold it, it doesn't fight you. So on my paper trimmer, if I bring the paper up to this line here, that actually is a 1/16 of an inch. And I can cut it. And it's hiding from there. It is. It's not very much, but it should be enough to prevent the problem. Let's check it out. It's going in here between the score lines, and it goes all the way to the top and bottom, and it folds perfectly. Okay, so we can glue that in place. Nice and even, and close the door. There we go. All right. Let's see, that inside layer, do I have it down here? Yeah. It was cut at 4 1/4 and 5 1/2, but I needed to shave like a 1/16 of an inch off of it. And I wanted to point that out to you because sometimes that happens with measurements. And I'm going to take that and toss it. Okay, and then this front layer, you just layer it up. even, nice and even. That's all you have to do on that. Sometimes people don't understand why we do the layering. And in this case, you might be tempted, like, why the additional layer? But you see, if I just had that, it just seemed kind of plain. Adding that little extra tied it in with the paper more, which is why I'm sure that's all is balanced. And that was a reason why I leave that leeway, because it got shifted on me a little further than I intended. And I could have had glue all over the place. All right, I'm going to let that settle down for a bit. Now we're going to work on, there it is. I'm looking for my packet. I should have another piece too. Okay. Now, we're using Wishing You a Lovely Day. Let's see, is that this one? No. Wishing You a Lovely Day right here. Okay. And in my original one, this cardstock is actually cloud cover. And I discovered that it goes well with this paper. I tried using cloud color for the sentiment, but I thought, it's a little bit too light. So this time I'm going with Misty Moonlight. And then I'm also going to bring in the mat. And I'm stamping it. Get a nice ink on here. Okay. Kind of center it. And down it goes. Now, one of the things I like about circles is you can't stamp crooked, because if you stamp crooked, you just rotate the circle and it's straight. We also need to have a piece, and let me see if I can find it. Aha, here it is. This is something I wanted to share with you. I'm going to close this for the time being because I have to set up. And you make, yeah, okay. All right. This is ready. I can go ahead and attach it. This this gold die cut is from the Spotlight on Nature dies. I know I had a different one here, but I just didn't like it as much as I liked that. So that's why you ended up with those. I make the examples and then I look them over and decide, do I like that or do I like it or what I want to change? And that's what I decided to change on you. Now for this, what we're going to do is something a little different. And I'm excited to share this with you. Before I do that, I'm going to add the glue to this so it's ready to go. And I usually just do a circle. And then I line it up so it's even. Okay, and I'm just going to let that settle. Now, I'm using the stamping positioner, the new stamping positioner. And I wanted to point this out to you specifically because it has a feature that hasn't been expressed very much. The stamping positioner, you can buy the grid paper to put on it. which I do. I use the grid paper. They don't have a marking on the pad itself. But what you can do, along the top are these little nubs, and they allow you to place your paper straight, which I appreciate. But they also have an opening here, and that is designed so you can take a triangle-like shape, like this is, and position it so it's exactly right. And I can tell it's exactly right because it lines up here with this line. It lines up with this line. It lines up with this line. So now I'm going to take and add my magnets to hold it in place. And then I'm going to take this sentiment. See, I may want to adjust this a little more. Let's see. Oh, I think I can go this way. Maybe, perhaps. Nope, not going to cooperate. All right. Maybe it'll work that way. Nope, don't like that. All right. Anyway, I can take this and I can line up my sentiment so it's even. And then I can actually put two magnets down here, I guess. Or I can put one over here close, one down here. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take and I'm going to put this down on the two pegs up here and here. And then I'm going to, there's a spring effect here, which allows you to push this down and pick up the stamp. And that's what the magnets are for, to hold it in place. It shifted a little bit, but what I can do now, and I don't know how well you can see that in the camera, but I can look and see, is that straight on there? And as far as I can tell, it is. So that part's good. Now I'm going to do a little adjusting again, because this helps me adjust exact. Okay. Double check that. Okay, the magnets are clear. And then I'm going to ink this up with the Misty Moonlight again. Turn this over, line it up on those two pegs, set it down. Now it's not touching the paper yet, so it gives you a chance, and then you push straight down. And then you can rub over it a little bit. And straight back up. Isn't that beautiful? It was a feature I'm as excited to share with you about this particular positioning tool. I always loved my Stamparatus, and those that you know me know that's true. But this is one feature the Stamparatus didn't have. Okay, move this out of the way. There's my piece. And I'm just going to put this back on here and move it out. Now, back to our construction. Before we adhere this to our card, we're going to go ahead and put this in here. Or actually, what we could do, let me think. Yeah, we're going to go ahead and put this in. Again, I'm using the liquid glue because it does give me some room for adjustment if necessary. Okay, and I put it in here, and then I'm going to go in. I'm going to make it sure it's even all the way around. Make sure nothing's interfering with anything else. Okay, that's good. We're good. Now, for this, I included several die cuts. Now, this is up to you. But what I did on my original card is I cut off this one little flower that's kind of sticking out. I just kind of cut it off. All right. And then I use these in the corners of that. But I also used I guess I had an extra one. I didn't think I did that. All right. I was just going to use it in the inside there. Let's see. Yeah, I did have 5. Okay. All right. So I'm going to take this one whole one. I think there's going to take this to kind of help the placement. And I'm going to use my fine tip bottle of glue to apply glue to the embellishment in the narrow spaces. There is another way you can do this, by the way, if you're worried about it. Often I'll use like a sponge dauber to glue, apply glue to my intricate embellishments. You can also do what I did with the fine tip bottle. You can use glue dots, but you can also take and just put the dots of glue and set them aside and let them dry. We did that with the alcohol ink technique, the gold pieces. Let them dry. This Tombow glue, which is what's in that container, dries clear, but it remains sticky, and it works like a glue dot. So if you wanted to do that, you can. I wanted you to know options because that makes a difference in how you approach things. Now I'm just putting these up here. All right. And then here comes a part that I wasn't completely clear on in my instructions, and I wanted to point that out to you because I realized after the fact. We're doing the inside first, and then we're going to finish off the outside. But what I wanted to point out to you is the second paragraph from the bottom. When we're applying this triangle, I skipped a portion, and here's where I'm going to correct that. All right, I'm positioning this triangle, the triangles of the square, so that they meet in the middle. I'm making sure that it's at the top, but not exceeding the height of the card, and even on both sides. Now here's where I can appreciate the tape runner, because if you had glue seeping out, it could cause problems. And what I'm doing is I'm holding this in position. I'm taking the tape runner and I'm running it across as carefully as I can. Okay, and one more down here. And it went and moved on me. So, okay, back to positioning it again. In the middle, up at the top, balance between the two sides. It's sticky, so it wants to stick and move on me. All right, once that's ready, close the door. Okay, now you've got that glued. See? But you're going to close the door. Here's where I forgot. We need to add the tape runner to the back side of the square. And then we're going to close the square. So that just leaves this one side open. And we're going to add the tape runner here, and here, and here. And close this side. Now, our closing card's ready to do its thing. It's not hard, it's just remembering the sequence, okay? Next trick. We're going to put this on here, balanced here between the two sides. This will be going on here, slightly off to the side. When you know you've got it balanced, you can only work on this one side. So you're going to flip it over and only tape on the one side. Actually, I think, yeah, I'll do the tape this time. Okay. Okay. The trick of it is it wants to fight you. Okay. There we go. No glue on the other side. And then we're just going to add this. Again, half.
That's from somebody that is on your class.
Okay, I got to make sure this is even. Okay, so going here and here and a little bit there. All right, wishing you a lovely day. All right, now you can do however you prefer. You can do the precision chip bottle glue, or you can do the sponging. In this case, because there's so many detail, I'm going for the sponging. I did some sponging yesterday. All right. When I'm doing the sponging, I use tacky glue. The reason I use tacky glue is it also dries clear, but it it doesn't stay tacky when it's dry. And the reason I use it is that when I'm using my silicone mat, which the glue won't stick to, I can get it off and clean it off. But what happens is if I'm using it and then I go to use something else, if I use the Tombow glue, it'll stay sticky and the stuff I put on my mat will get stuck to the glue. So we don't want that. So what I'm doing here is I'm finding clear areas and I'm going to put the glue on the pieces in the clear areas and then apply them. I'm going to be putting them in the corners. Let me get the sample there. I'm going to be putting them in the corners. So I'm picking up the glue with my sponge. I'm just kind of daubing it. And then when it gets to where it's all daubed, I'll go ahead and add it to the corners. In this case, come on. Okay, move this over towards the center here. Again, pick up the glue, daub. I can use this. That's a little easier. Okay, pick up the glue, daub. A little more. Okay. Okay. Pick up the rest of the glue and daub. Okay. Okay. And then I can use this to pick up these little flowers. And in this case, because there's only a little bit, I could daub it, but it's so small. I'm just going to add a little speck once it's coming out of glue in different spots. See, I like the flower to show, so I'm putting it on the blue. Get me another flower. Oh, let's see. Put it here. Okay. And one more. Oh, you didn't stay. Must have glue on my fingers. There. Okay. And here you are, your third card. Okay, gotta move that aside. Pardon me while I clean up my debris a little bit. Move this off to the side. Okay. For our final card, let's move these off. Okay, this one, I went back to the perennial lavender paper again. It is so pretty. That I've always enjoyed what I end up making with them. Okay, I'm going to need that. I'm going to need that. All right. And this looks like it needs to be cleaned. Double check on that one. Okay. Now, in the making of this card, I used let's see, they were called Thoughtful Expression dies. And again, this is a set that the dies called to me because they're layered. And it makes it so easy to do designs. I did some pre-prep for you that I'm going to have to demonstrate for those who didn't get the kits. But I went ahead and I put this piece of designer series paper on the top, and then I did a partial die cut, which is what I'm going to demonstrate to you today. Okay. And I used these dies. Let me find the right one. I think it was this one. Yes. Now, when you want to remake this card, you don't have to use this exact die. If you have a rectangular one that is an appropriate size, again, I'm just grabbing, you could do, once I get it open the right way, you could use, if these are size that you have, you could use one of these that's about the right size. You could do that. And use what you have. If you don't have it, you might have to look into getting some sets that can let you do it. This one would also work. This was the deckled edge. Well, that was a little bit bigger, but it would work. It's just, I honestly, when I see layered sets like this, I am drawn to them. I usually get them. A lot of things I'll say no to, but that's one of the things that usually gets me. Now, what I did here for the front of the card is I used the die set, I used the leaf for the background, and I used various cardstocks. I used Highland Heather and Gorgeous Scrape to cut out this and some of these, and then the green for the background. And then we added a bit of twine and a couple of embellishments. But before we get there, we got some work to do. I just wanted you to see what we were using. And I'm going to have to use that. So let me get that out, get my kit out. So yours is already partially done. Isn't that nice? So you have your card base, and let me get the measurements here. This card base was 4 1/4 by 11, scored at 5 1/2. But it was also scored at 2 3/4, which is exactly half of 5 1/2. All right, I'm going to fold on that. Actually, go fold this way. So the reason why I did that, and this is, I have to laugh, but the visual, if I didn't do that and you went to do this, you'd be tempted maybe to put the card, the designer series paper up here. That won't work. We have to put it, and believe me, I had to make a couple of these to get it right. You have to put it up here. Okay, so that's what I'm going to do right now. Let's put it up here. And in this case, you don't have to worry about securing it only on the edges. You can be a little more generous. Okay. So I'm just taking this and I'm centering it on this top section here. Okay. And I did this wrong the first time, so I'm being extra cautious not to do it wrong when I'm showing you guys. All right. We're getting our lovely machine. And we're also, before I put that there, let me finish this part. We're going to shake and we're going to run the die cut. But we are going to run, okay, right now I'm kind of centering it. Oh, here I go. I did on the die leave a couple of marks that show me where I should place the die along the score line. And then let's see, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. It looks like it could be moved just a smidge this way. Yeah, try to balance it out. Now I'm going to tape it down. Good old Post-it note makes all the difference. Hold it in place. Now I'm bringing my machine in. I'm going to do this differently though. Okay, moving stuff out of the way. We are going to take, let me get the plates here. We're going to take plate number 1, die adapter 2, put that in here. I'm going to take my plate number 3, put that in here. That's the plate I'm cutting against. I'm going to take this that I prepared and I'm going to slide it in let's see, I can go this way. Let's see, I have to stop and figure out how I did this because it's tricky. Which is why I'm showing it to you. Yes. Okay. So what I'm doing, yeah, that's why I did it that way. I'm remembering now. Okay. What I'm doing is I'm taking this, I'm feeding the one to end through, but I am lining this up at the edge of this so that it's not going to cut here. I'm going to feed this through and then I'm going to run it. Let's see if it's going to let me do it. Yeah, there it goes. And I can feed it through the ink and we're done. Take my parts and pieces out, pull the machine away. That's what happens when you have a limited space to work with. Okay, now I'm going to take and remove the die. And because, okay, come on. Post-it note tape holds really well. It does, it does. Okay. There we go. All right. So this is cut. But not all the way. If you cut it all the way, then you would have a loose piece and you wouldn't really have anything to attach to. All right. So that's the first part. And what you end up with something like this. I'm going to put this away as I express my caution about losing dies. And this one got kind of curved. Okay. And put you away. In you go. Safe and sound. Okay, move the extra pieces aside. Okay, move this aside. All right. Now, this part's ready for progress. This is the part I already did for most of you who had the kits. Now, we need to prepare these. And if you wish, you can prepare this as well. I didn't do mine. I could. I might go ahead and do it this time. But what we're doing is we're going to get some scratch paper. Well, let's move my stuff so I can get the scratch paper. Sets I'm going to be using. Now, I have a drawer where I keep scrap paper so that I can get to it when I need it. And then we're going to use crumb cake and a blending brush and these die cuts that I have prepared. And what we're going to do is we're going to open the crumb cake. I'm going to pick up some of the color, do a first, run off to the side, and then approach it from the edge. Now this can be a slower process. You just need to make sure that the first time you ink it up, you run it on the paper so that if there's any blobs, it'll catch the blobs. What we're doing is we're just simply softening the color a little so it's not stark white. It kind of blends more with the paper. But I was focusing more on the edges. Okay, to add some color. Next one. Okay. Okay. All right. We're done with that. Put it away. Now, for one of these, for the front section, you're going to do an arrangement of flowers. We're not going to worry about that right yet. We're going to work on this one. You brighten my day. Is that this one? No, that's not that one. Okay. Must be this one. You brighten my day. Okay. So I'm going to stamp that in garden green. There's many greens that you could use, but I'm going to stamp that one in garden green. I'm going to get my mat out again. Up here. You brighten my day. And then I'm going to put, I gotta get some more flowers. Oh, the set. Okay. Oh, it's going to go off the edges, so I'm going to use the scratch paper again. Okay. There we go. That'll lighten up as it dries. And then I need to get the butterfly stamp. In this case, there it is. I'm only going to use this top butterfly. So I'm bringing it close to the ink pad and just inking up the top butterfly. And then I'm going to come over here and place it right there. Okay. And again, we go cleaning our stamps. Part of the reason for cleaning your stamps as you go is because sometimes you forget you didn't clean it and you accidentally set something down on it and instant ink transfer. Whoop. Didn't mean to do that. All right. They had a picture where somebody had definitely been stamping and they had their supplies out and they asked, what is the most dangerous thing in this picture? Well, the answer was the open stamp pads, but the secondary one would be unclean stamps. All right, here we go. Back to the card. Let's close the stamp ink pads. Remember what we said, danger, danger. All right, we're going to add this exactly over the original one. Okay, so I'm using my glue. And while this looks like it's flimsy because it was bent, what's going to happen is it's not going to matter because you're going to have two of these to stiffen it up. Okay, there we go. Get some glue coming out. Okay, so we want to line it up. If it helps you to line it up by doing that, have to it. I find I use whatever I can to make it come out right. Okay, and this next one is we're going to do the floral. But before we get to that, let's do some fun things. We're going to set that aside for the floral. We're going to add this. Now, this is up to you. You can add just this panel and not worry about adding this piece because you can write on here. I was concerned about it, so I added the piece so you had a room for a message. Again, it's up to you. Just going to center that. Believe it's 4 by 5 1/4. So you have that 1/8 inch border all around. Easy peasy. Okay, that's the easy one. Okay, and then if you want to add this, it just would go like right here. And that covers, so you don't see it showing. Move it a little bit there. A little bit more. Okay. And then we're covered. Okay. Now, this one. Here's where all the goodies come in. I may have given myself some extra pieces. Oh, I know why I did that. Okay, now, kind of a lesson in frugality. When I die cut these, I'm going to end up cutting the stems. Now, I see that in some cases I didn't get all the little punched out. So we can look for that too. Okay. And we're going to need our mat again. But what happened was when I die cut these flowers, they came with a long stem. And I die cut some in glitter paper. And I cut off stems, and I had these long stems left behind. And I thought they were too pretty to throw away. So when I was crafting this card, I thought, I like a little sparkle in there. Why don't I use some of those little stem things that I couldn't throw away? And that's what I did. Now, the other trick, and this is where your creativity is going to come in. I believe these are the embellishments. I think that's all that is the embellishments. Feels a little thick, though. Let me check. Oh, yeah. I had to go just for embellishments because I ran out of the sequins. So what I did was this piece of greenery is kind of long for this. So you can trim off the edge if you'd like. You know, just kind of trim it off down here and get that in place. And that gives you your background. And then you can take and arrange your pieces on there to the way that you like before you glue them. But this I'll glue down now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take and snip this one piece off. And then I'm going to get my actually, okay, that goes that way. I was looking at reverse side. We can try it that way. What I did on here was I snipped this piece off and I put it going that way, but I think it'd be fine to go this way. It's up to you. You're the floral designer now. Okay, here I am back with my mat. And I'm going to put more glue on it. The other glue is dried from when I applied it before. Okay, tacky glue. Okay. Picking up the glue and daubing it on. You'll notice I'm holding this in place as best I can so that I don't accidentally get glue on the other pieces. If it does move on me, I move it out of the area so that it doesn't get glue on the front if we can avoid it. And then let me move this up here so you can see. And then I'm just adding the leaves. In this case, I'm going to place those there. I can place this here. The problem is when you have too many loose pieces, it's too easy to move what you placed by mistake when you're placing the other pieces. And then add that over there. And then I'm going to insert these little strips. Okay, starting with that. Just giving me an idea where I'm going. All right, and then I'm going to want to snip this down here. Okay, go to the mat, pick up the glue, daub it on. Okay. Figure out where I'm putting that. Snip it. Add the glue. Okay. All right. And now, because I want to add these, I think I want to add this up a little higher and then some down lower. I'm going to go ahead and add these now. In this case, I'm just kind of running it over that glue patch. so I have some adhesion. It's kind of a narrow strip. One over here. Let's see, how's that going to look? That's going to get hidden. Okay, we're moving it. That'll work. And then I have one more strip here. I'm picking up the glue before I grab the glue for this. Oop. Okay. And then I'm going to put this in here. Down like that. And then this one gets the glue. Okay. Bring it out here. Okay, now you have this conglomeration down at the bottom here. And that will get hidden by this bow. Now what I did, and I made this extra piece to show you. I did a double strand. And sometimes it's awful wiggly. The linen thread can be kind of crinkly. And to smooth it out, you can run it between your finger and your nail and smooth it out. And then what I took and tied a knot in the very end. To hold the two pieces together. And then I proceeded to make the bow. You can see my hands here. Now, this gets a little confusing with all the little pieces, but it works eventually. I want these both to come. Okay, I don't want a super big bow. I just want a bow. Let's see. And then you're just going to snip the pieces. I have this one already done. I'm just going to snip the pieces. Oh, ribbon scissors. Otherwise, I'll just chew at it. And chew. And there you have your bow that you can put. And I'm going to add a glue dot for that. And in this case, it's going to be one of those rolled up ones. Oh, I wanted to pick it all up that time. Okay. All right. Let's get the whole thing attached. Oh, it's really fighting me. Yeah. Now it's on my nails to take a picture. Huh? There. All right. And we're going to put you there. We ready? We go back to our card here. And we're going to do the same thing we did with the other side. We are going to line it up exactly. Liquid glue works good for that. And then I'm making sure I'm going the right direction. Okay, so this has to be at the end. There we go. Get all lined up. And we're good. Except for the glue on my fingers. Okay. We're good. All right. Now, again, in your kit, I included a piece of ribbon. And I tried to be generous with the ribbon, so you had plenty of room to work with. Now you have a choice. I did a bow, but if you prefer, you could just do a knot. No, I'm not terribly shy about bows, but I do recognize that sometimes they can be difficult, or sometimes your fingers can be difficult, in which case I could revert back to one of my favorite tools, reverse tweezers. I get the knot about where I want it to be, at the certain tension I want, not too tight but not too loose. And I hold on with that. And then I can do this, and I can wrap this around. And grab the two heads of both of those if I can. Oh, I'm not grabbing it. Okay, try it again. All right, let's see. I need this a little bit longer, so we're going to scoot this over a little bit. No. Come on. Okay. Progress. Sort of. Okay. I don't want that in the way, but it has to be in the way somewhat. There. Okay, I'm going to try not to lose that ribbon edge. I think we're close enough. I can pull that out. Here we go. Oh, yes. Liking. Okay. Now, if you want to secure your bow, you can add maybe some glue dots, or maybe one right behind the bow itself, because it likes to flop around when it's a little heavier. Okay, we like it. We like it. We like it. We like it. Okay, there's your card. All ready for your message and signature. And that was your fourth card. Oh, whoa, I almost forgot. Now I lost them. There they are. Okay. Almost forgot embellishments. Okay. I don't know how well that's going to work. Did that take my stickum? It did. It took my stickum. Oh, that wasn't good. That wasn't supposed to happen. All right, back to the glue dots. That's kind of big for that. There it goes. Okay. Gonna one down here. One up here. I'm going to do that one there. Okay, there we are. We have our embellishments, our floral arrangement, our sentiment, and we're good to go. So that was your fourth card. Now, I promised I'd show you some sneak peeks. And I want to mention that I don't always have this available at the end of my class, but this time I do, and I'm going to share a little. I'm just cleaning our decks a little bit so we don't have overwhelm. But a quick review of our cards that we got done today. Okay, now I hope you enjoyed this. We do pretty good on time, actually. And then what I wanted to show you, let's see if I don't want to spill everything. Oh, let me get over here. Here it is. Okay, now these are prototypes. The final cards that we will do in class won't necessarily be exactly like these. But this is one where we're using that beautiful Scenic Coast paper. And we're using it as a mat. And then we're doing the die cuts with it. It's a pretty simple, straightforward card. I thought you'd like to see it because sometimes we're in a rush to get cards out. This would say happy birthday, thank you, happy anniversary, happy retirement, any number of things. I just wanted to show this to you because I thought it was a really cool way to go. That's one. Now, this is definitely a prototype. I haven't finalized on what I'm doing, but this card has a hidden message. And I used, in this case, the Paradise Garden paper, but I'm exploring with different papers, and I haven't decided for sure which I'm wanting to do. But that you have your room up here for the message, and then the hidden message underneath. And this, we're using Kintsugi paper again. This is probably what we're going to do. I'm pretty much set on this one. But isn't that cool? It opens up for a hidden message again. I just thought that was so cool. Anyway, that's one of the cards. And then I'm starting in on Halloween now. And this, again, is only a prototype. I've ordered some more supplies. I haven't gotten the Halloween paper yet, so I'm using what I have. But this card opens up, and it has a slide in it, which I put a message, a hidden message, for the kids. Open it up, and then you have the picture. And this is a technique I'm teaching with the class on creating the background picture. And then you had a hidden message underneath here. Now, if you wanted, there's room. If you had a gift card or something, there's room that you could actually put that there and have it slide out, when they open the card, if it's something you wanted to use for gifts. But in this case, I was thinking of my grandkids and I just was giving them a hidden message. So that's another card for the class. And I have one more little sneak peek. This is just a card I'm thinking about for my grandkids for Halloween. And it's using a spinner. Now, I just got them. I'm just playing with them, so I haven't decided for sure yet. But the set I've been focusing on with this is this Oh My Fright set. It's got the stamp set and it's got the tree. I love the tree. And it's got 2 ghosts. The ghost die and this one die. This is actually, we'll cut from the DSP, we'll cut the picture of the cat inside the witch hat. So that's some that you can use in your, from when your paper comes. And then this is the Swirls of Magic embossing folder that I use. I don't know how well you can see it for the background on this card, but it is really a fun card. Unfortunately, it's out of stock right now, but I'm sure it'll come back in because it's very popular. And anyway, that's used when I was creating this card. This same technique I'd be teaching in the class when I taught this, but this is using the everyday arches. Again, I used the arch to cut the card itself, and then I used a smaller arch and did the background for the front of the card. And then I used even the next size down for the inside sentiment piece. And then I added the spinner. So we'll talk more about that, but I just thought that would be a fun thing to share with you. Anyway, thank you for coming. I hope you enjoyed the class. I hope you're excited about the potential for the next class, which will be August 15th. If you have any feedback you'd like to give me regarding the cards I just showed you, I'd appreciate hearing from you. And have a wonderful weekend. Gosh, you've got a good start. This is the Everyday Arches, and they're still available. So, but again, it's another one of those graduated size dies, and I like them. So there you go. Have a good week, and hope I get to have you join us next time. You take care, and it's time to get ready for Halloween. Oh my. Bye.